variable aperture, red maple sensor, color calibration chart, LoFIC, dual forward-facing telephoto lenses. Whether you already know what these mean or you're hearing them for the first time, when all of them come together on the Huawei Mate 80 Pro Max, the result feels genuinely different. Not just in terms of specs on paper, but in how the hardware is designed and how the features are actually implemented. Every sample photo you're seeing here was captured with this camera. Hey everyone, in this video I want to share a slightly different perspective on Huawei's imaging system. Moving from the Mate 60 series to the Mate 80 Pro Max, you can really feel how this device represents the full culmination of Huawei's imaging exploration over the past few years. On the hardware side, it's almost like a summary of everything they've been experimenting with. On the feature side, it builds on unfinished ideas from previous generations and turns them into something much more distinctive. Personally, I see this phone as the beginning of Huawei's next phase in camera development, maybe even a return to its peak era. The biggest hardware shift this year is clearly the new dual forward-looking telephoto setup. At first glance, it might remind you of what Oppo has done, but the actual experience is quite different. If you think about 200 megapixel solutions as using one sensor to replace two lenses, Huawei is doing the opposite, using two lenses in a way that feels like one seamless system. Instead of dividing roles strictly by focal length relay, the separation is more about coverage range. The 4-eyes telephoto lens performs extremely well in mid-range shots, close-ups, and even macro photography. In fact, it can stretch into what would normally be considered the native range of a 6x zoom lens. Indoors, in many situations, the stabilization is surprisingly solid. Even when pushing into 10x for close-ups and assuming you have enough focusing distance, sometimes without refocusing, the crop factor still resembles what you'd see from the 4x lens. That really highlights how advanced the AI processing has become. The other telephoto lens has a longer minimum focusing distance, roughly 1.5 meters, clearly designed to address limitations from the previous generation. In bright outdoor conditions, it can achieve a hardware crop equivalent of around 300 millimeters with respectable resolution. Low light responsiveness is also quite good, and there's a 25 megapixel high-resolution mode available. What's impressive is that this zoom capability isn't limited to still photography. You can shoot portrait video and even slow motion video at 10x zoom. Of course, 10x video zoom is very dependent on lighting conditions. That said, there is one slightly awkward detail. If you manually zoom to 9.6x, the output is 25 megapixels. But with the current firmware, once you hit 10x, it drops back down to 12 megapixels. On paper, that tiny difference in zoom shouldn't matter much, right? In real-world use, the two telephoto lenses share the same sensor, so switching between them feels almost seamless. You barely notice it happening. Still, there are areas that could be refined. For example, the 4-eyes sensor has a physical focal length of around 90 millimeters, so further cropping isn't always necessary. Slightly zooming in helps reduce the perspective gap between it and the main camera. And at night, since both telephoto sensors are relatively small, you'll still notice some noise in darker areas. When it comes to overall consistency, the second-generation red maple sensor plays a major role this year. Over the years, Huawei has used RYYB to improve light intake, red maple to enhance color accuracy and white balance, and LoFIC to shape dynamic atmosphere. Add in variable aperture and telephoto macro, and you can see how many of Huawei's long-term goals are finally coming together. With stronger chips and better processing, these ideas now feel more mature. The new effects and features are genuinely impressive. You'll notice the red maple sensor most clearly in low-light environments with artificial lighting, like indoor scenes, or in night shots with complex light sources such as neon signs. Colors look accurate yet vibrant. Another standout scenario is extreme tonal scenes, pure white snow or deep night shadows, where it does a better job preserving clean whites and rich blacks. On the Mate 80 Pro Max, the second-generation red maple sensor also integrates DCG HDR, and when combined with the main camera's LoFIC technology, the dynamic range in backlit scenes is excellent. Colors stay balanced and highlights are controlled nicely. Of course, LoFIC still has its typical trade-offs. Shadow noise is not completely avoidable. Personally, I prefer slightly suppressing the shadows to maintain some of the natural light and shadow texture. And honestly, these photos look even better when viewed on a proper HDR display. One small but impressive detail, Huawei's HDR photos transfer and display correctly on an iPhone, which is something I didn't expect and genuinely appreciate. That said, The red maple approach isn't perfect for every situation. In extremely dark night scenes using the telephoto lens, where both brightness and field of view become critical, this color tuning isn't always the most user-friendly. As for color modes, Huawei takes a slightly different direction. Instead of focusing purely on absolute color accuracy, it gives you more room for stylistic expression. After several weeks of shooting, I find myself using the film and natural modes the most. Both have slightly reduced saturation, but the way they handle light and shadow gives images a strong sense of depth and mood. When it comes to portraits, film mode does something really interesting. It gives skin tones a slightly cool, clean white look, and there's a subtle grain that makes the image feel more organic. But if you're shooting in places like temples where you've got intense reds, greens, golds, and whites all competing for attention, then vivid mode really stands out. The stronger saturation in that mode makes those rich colors pop in a way that feels bold and eye-catching. This year, Huawei has also added automatic adjustments to the 3 default color modes, and they're slowly moving toward a more personalized shooting style. I'll be honest, the name Vivid Mode sounds a little odd to me, but the visual effect is actually quite similar to portrait styles from other brands. There's a noticeable vignette effect built in, and unfortunately you can't adjust it. Right now, there's also a limitation. You have to choose between using the color chart or live photos. Unlike Apple's photography styles, you can't apply the color chart settings across the entire live photo. And if you switch to RAW in Pro mode, you won't get a JPEG version or any post-processing adjustments at all. It feels like we might need the next jump in processing power before these features can fully coexist. That said, building on this unique color science, the Mate 80 series introduces some genuinely impressive new features. Most obvious upgrade is the live photos dynamic panning mode. Whether you're capturing people walking or cars passing by, the motion blur feels more refined, and the colors created by the red maple system make everything look more cinematic. In busy tourist spots or crowded streets, that motion blur can actually help simplify messy backgrounds and reduce visual clutter. Then there's the new flash mode. Sports-style shooting isn't exactly new, and Huawei's default shutter speeds have never been overly conservative. But when you combine flash mode with the red maple color tuning, it becomes incredibly easy to freeze snowflakes mid-air. You can clearly see the layering effect. Sharp flakes suspended in front, with softer, blurred ones in the background, creating a strong sense of depth. At 2x to 4x zoom, especially when shooting smaller-scale scenes like drifting snow or clouds, the results look fantastic. On top of that, many of the issues people had with the previous GP6 setup have mostly been addressed. Several commonly used modes now include a 35mm option, and the 6.2x telephoto, along with other longer focal lengths, can be selected directly with one tap. Strangely though, the 28mm option we've seen on Vivo and earlier Huawei models has disappeared this year. Now you're left with just 24mm and 35mm. Portrait mode has finally seen a major overhaul. The depth of field algorithm feels much more natural now. The harsh, overly aggressive background blur from previous generations is gone. Bokeh looks more controlled, and subject separation feels more realistic. Even reflections in mirrors are detected more accurately. Another big improvement is that the excessive sharpening from last year has been fixed. Faces no longer look over-processed, and even at 6.2x zoom, skin details remain relatively natural and pleasing. If there's one area that still needs improvement, it's video. There's no 4K at 120 FPS yet, and both portrait video and slow motion are capped at 1080p. That's largely due to chipset limitations. The 960 FPS slow motion mode still isn't fully manual either. It relies on automatic detection to trigger the effect. So, in scenes like snowfall, the snowflakes need to be clearly defined for the camera to capture them properly. Overall, I actually think the Mate 80 Pro Max feels more practical this year than the Pure 80 Ultra. The dual telephoto system removes that awkward lens switching feeling, so zooming in both photos and videos feels smoother. The fanless design makes it more versatile in daily use, and the quad flash setup performs better in real-world scenarios. With more complete camera tools, color chart editing, and improved live photo support, it feels like Huawei has finally delivered on ideas that were introduced years ago, but not fully realized at the time. Aside from the current limitation of color chart settings in video, the overall experience is smooth and polished. And honestly, video performance on the Mate 80 series isn't bad at all. It even supports log shooting, although you'll have to dig a little deeper into the menus to find it. Still, with this phone, I think it's fair to say that Huawei's imaging system has fully returned to top form. Considering the pricing of this year's Mate 80 lineup, it's clear Huawei is serious about building cinematic-level flagship devices. I'm also excited to see what next year's Q290 series might bring, possibly more refined hardware, even better image quality, and maybe a 5x zoom option integrated into the ultra-wide or standard version. Will we see another major leap forward? What do you think about Huawei's current flagship direction? Let me know in the comments or jump into the live chat to share your thoughts. That's it for this video. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. I'll see you in the next one.